welcome back to repairing lawnmowers for profit. It's been a while since I filmed a video actually. I've been doing lots of little different projects actually indoors just in my house. I've done a lot of decorating over the last few months, and actually, unfortunately for me, I've actually, even over the winter months, as you can probably see, I'm actually down to one lawnmower, which is obviously going to be a bad thing if I don't raise my game before the spring. So I've been that busy with other projects really that I've not had time to film too many videos, and as you can probably tell from the video, I'm full of cold again. You know what, with it being Christmas and everything, it's guaranteed, isn't it? I'm sure most of you have had it. But I thought, well, I've got a bit of downtime on these mowers. I've got a few lined up just coming in shortly, but I thought I'd just do a bit of work on this bike. Now, you might remember back to my summer days, I think it was, it must have been 18 months ago maybe, that I got this bike. And as you can see, I've got it in bits again. Not really any reason for it, just a bit of general maintenance. It's actually been superb. This is an F-Reg Yamaha Jog 50cc moped that I restored in some previous videos. If you've not seen those videos, you might want to check them out on my channel. But I just thought I'd bring the camera out with me today. So I've been in here for a few days, just tidying up a few bits. I just thought I'd show you what I've been up to. Now, the reason I'm including these videos on my lawnmower channel is because they are very similar type of engine. The actual carburettor is still very simple setup. If you've ever repaired the Honda ones with the bowl type carb, it's very similar to that. I've just actually had this one in bits and just blown out all the jets and just cleaned it with some carb spray. This is the carb spray that I use, and I'll get asked about that, so I'll just film that. Basically a case of taking the 4 screws out of the bottom, just dismantling this as I've shown in previous videos, and it's on the Honda repair DVD. Tells you how to do a bowl type carb, blowing everything out, making sure it's nice and dry and putting it back together. I'm just doing it as general maintenance, as I've been having a little bit of problems when it's been cold of getting this bike started up, so I thought I'd just do a little bit about that. But I don't think it was down to the carburettor, but while I had all the other parts off, it seemed daft not to service the carb. So I pulled the carb off this bike, as you can see here. I had to change this inlet manifold. I did this when I first got the bike. This was all loose. This is the throttle connector, and there's, of course, just hanging down somewhere else, this is the choke as well. Make sure that's in good order. Just tidied all that up as well. Now, I've got a few other little jobs I wanted to do actually. This ignition here, this ignition lead here, the suppressor cap, when I took it off, it's all broken inside and snapped off, so I just purchased a new one of those for about £5, an NGK one. And I wasn't really sure what I was doing with that. At first I thought you'd have to buy the whole part, but this just unscrews really. If you look in the end of these suppressor caps here, it's just got a general pin in it. It just screws itself into the end of the wire. So I purchased a new one of those, and of course, not wanting to miss out on anything, I got a new plug as well, just for you know, make sure that everything's in okay, as I was having some starting problems. Now, having a look into this, I'm going to do that, but there's a few cables in here. As you can see here, I've just clamped this one off, just bolted this thing in really just to stop it leaking. And some of these pipes, I mean, I saw that ignition one out, as I've said, I just took that one under there. Are just not quite long enough to be able to get the carburettor back on and then push the pipes on. It makes it all quite difficult, so I'm going to replace one of the pipes, which I'll show you in a minute. But just firstly, I wanted to say, when you do any work on anything such as this, I always disconnect the battery as well, just so there can be no accidents. And it's up to you, but sometimes it's quite easy just to take the whole tank off. It wouldn't take me too long to take the tank off, and even this where this 2-stroke coil goes at the back, I could take that off. But the reason I'm showing you this video is some of these pipes aren't quite long enough. This one here, for example, this runs from an auto lube pump. Now, what an auto lube pump is, it's a part on the bottom of the bike. I'm not sure if I can get it to film it under here, but it's basically just a pump, which is sat under this side here where my thumb is, and it just pumps this 2-stroke oil, and it mixes it for you on the run rather than having to mix your fuel yourself. But this pipe here, which is very small, is very short, as you can probably see here, where the carburettor goes on. Getting this carburettor to push on, and that pipe on there, I don't know what's happened if it's been cut too short in the past. It's always been a real pain, so I'm going to unroot this this pipe from the auto lube pump. I'm going to retrace it back round. It just goes around the back of this cover here. It runs down the back of the cover, which is down there, as you can see. It just runs down the back into the bottom and into this pump. So I'm going to pull that off, and I've just ordered another one. I'm going to fit a new auto lube pump on this. I'm going to put the carburettor back on. I'm also going to just get a new air filter as well. I only had one about 18 months ago, but I think it's picked up quite a lot of dirt since then. But generally, it's been superb. I mean, I've ridden it, you know, I've ridden it about pretty much every 2 or 3 days, maybe 7-8 miles a day, and I've not had a problem with it. I had one MOT passed straight away. The second MOT, I had a problem with the back brake. They just weren't opening and closing right. I think something was just seizing up, and eventually I got some new pad parts for it and fitted them on. Eventually I got some new parts for the rear wheel and the rear drum and fitted those on, took it back, and it wasn't sticking anymore. I actually swapped the wheel over because the inside of the wheel wasn't perfectly circular. It had gone into a type oval shape and I was getting a little bit of dragging even with the brakes released. So I've actually swapped that wheel over and painted that one up, and just reset all this back here. But I love riding it. It's, you know, it's great. I mean, it's nothing to anyone else but an F-Reg Yamaha Jog, but you know, it's when it's yours, isn't it? You know, any bike is. And I briefly considered selling it to buy another one just for a bit of fun of doing a different bike, but I can't do it really. It's my bike, you know, and there's nothing wrong with it. It starts and runs fine once you get it going. As I say, for an F-Reg bike, I mean, I paid £100 for this. It's been absolutely invaluable. I think the tax is about £16 a year or something like that, and insurance is about 60. And the amount of times I've used it to get into the city centre where I live, it's been absolutely brilliant. No parking fees or anything like that. Basically just drop it off where you want to be, pick up what you want and come back into your local area. It's been great for that. But while the winter's really cold weather outside, icy, I thought I'd just come in here and do a little bit of work on it. So I'm going to try and unroot this pipe now, and we're going to get another one and pop that back on. It's actually quite a bit easier to get in from this side where the pipe runs down from. As you can see here, it just runs down the back there and along the top of this plastic covering here. As you can see at the moment, there's no other way to reroute it. I've tried all sorts to make it a little bit longer. So I'm going to pull this through. Obviously take pictures of stuff, anything, even if you think you can remember where it goes. I always take pictures on my mobile phone. I'm just going to unplug this from there and push this down the gap, just to get the bottom off, and it just pulls off at the bottom. As I say, I'm going to replace that. Now I considered leaving it on and taking it off from the bottom and pulling it back through, thinking that this was a complete sort of tube, but when I took this panel off the other side here, you can see it's just a cutout and this just pushes in. So I'm just going to push this down to the bottom, and I'm just going to take this off this auto lube pump at the bottom. There won't be much oil come out of it. As I say, it only lubricates, sends the lubrication through to mix it with the fuel when the engine's actually turning, so there's no problem with leakage. And just underneath the bike, just about where the exhaust goes in, you can see if I just pull these cables out of the way, there's just this bit to come off, so I'm just going to unhook that now. I'll take that off there, and when the new part comes in I'm just going to fit that one. So I'll pull this off the bottom. It's basically just the tubing that comes off. I had like a metal part that I'll put back on the new tubing. As you can see here, just underneath there, you can now see where I need to fit the new pipe work from. So I'm just going to put that one on when it comes. Hopefully it'll come tomorrow in the post so I can film a bit more of this video. Slide it back exactly the same place as that one was, and then I'll have a lot of space left when I come to put the carburettor back on. I'll be able to put it into this inlet here and then connect the pipes up. What I've been previously having to do every single time I've had to take it off, and I was even putting the bike back together initially, is try and get the thing in the hole. It's really far, it's right down the back of the carburettor as well, and you're trying to get it on, it's not long enough, and it's basically, as long as that pipe's long enough, it's you know, a 5-minute job to take the carb off really and put it back on, but it turns into a bit of a, you know, 15-20 minute fight just because one pipe's too short. So I thought while I'm at it I'll do that. But one of the other things I'm going to do is I'm going to fit a new rectifier on this bike, like a regulator rectifier. I've actually put one on it before. I had a problem with the lights. The only problem I've had with the bike, apart from that back wheel having to do some work on the brakes, the lights were just burning at full all the time. It wasn't regulating the voltage correctly, and it was just basically blowing bulbs for about a week. I thought, what's going on here? Of course, looked a bit of research online, realised that the regulator wasn't working correctly. Now luckily when I got the bike, it actually came with some bits, and I actually did have a spare one. This was the old one I took off. It's just basically a box like this. I'll show you where it goes on the bike in a minute. And this just regulates the voltage. So I sent off for another one of these. Just bought one the other day, and unfortunately the one that they sent me had 4 pins in a line. As you can see here, my 4 pins are 2 on 2. As you can see, 2 up, 2 down. Bit of out of focus shot really, but you get the idea. They're not 4 straight ones, but that was the old faulty one that I've kept to one side just so I don't, make sure I don't put it back on again.